Welcome back to my channel. In the last video, we looked at how Eli Lilly became the most valuable pharma company in the world, thanks to its powerful obesity drug pipeline. This week, we saw two big developments in the oral GLP-1 space. Pfizer announced the discontinuation of its candidate, Danuglipron, a major setback for one of the biggest names in pharma. But just as that news broke, Lilly released positive phase 3 results for its oral GLP-1 agonist, Orforglipron, and the market took notice. In today's video, we'll focus on Orforglipron, what the phase 3 data actually shows, how it compares to competitors like Ozempic and Rybelsus, and why this drug could be a true game changer in obesity treatment. We'll also take a closer look at its safety profile, including how it stacks up against existing GLP-1 therapies. And if you stick around until the end, you just might pick up some hints on how to spot the next company that could follow in Lilly's explosive footsteps. Let's dive in. Before we dive into the details, let me quickly introduce myself, especially for those of you who are new to the channel. I have a PhD in science and over 20 years of experience in the global pharmaceutical industry. Here on this channel, I break down biotech and pharma stocks from a science-driven perspective, so you can make smarter investment decisions based on real data, not just hype. And hey, if your portfolio took a hit recently with all the tariff-related panic, you're not alone. I've been there too. But honestly, I believe this is one of the best buying opportunities we've seen in biotech in years. That's why now is the time to cut through the noise, understand the fundamentals, and position yourself before the market wakes up. If that sounds useful to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Before we talk about Lilly's Orforglipron, let's take a quick look at Wegovy, one of the gold standards among injectable GLP-1 drugs. Wegovy is developed by Novo Nordisk, and it's a once-weekly GLP-1 agonist that's been a major breakthrough in obesity treatment. In clinical trials, it achieved a 14.9% average weight loss over 68 weeks, a result that helped reshape the entire obesity drug landscape. But as powerful as these injectables are, they come with certain limitations. Including manufacturing complexity and less than ideal convenience. So before we dive into Lilly's Orforglipron, let's talk about why this matters. Ozempic, the injectable GLP-1 drug from Novo Nordisk, shares the same active ingredient as Wegovy, semaglutide, but is used for treating type 2 diabetes. And since the phase 3 data we're covering today is also in diabetes patients, it makes more sense to compare Orforglipron with Ozempic, not Wegovy. Now, here's where things get interesting. Orforglipron isn't a peptide like semaglutide, it's a small molecule. That means it's cheaper to manufacture and can be taken as a once-daily pill. From both a business and patient perspective, that's a massive advantage. Let's put everything side by side. Ozempic, from Novo Nordisk, is a peptide-based injection. It's effective, but expensive to manufacture and less convenient for daily use. Orforglipron, developed by Lilly, is a small molecule pill, cheaper to produce and easier for patients to take. So far, Lilly seems to have a clear edge in both cost and convenience. But here's what really matters: can Orforglipron match Ozempic when it comes to weight loss and safety, especially in type 2 diabetes patients? Let's take a look at the phase 3 data and find out. This slide shows the results from Achieve-1, a phase 3 trial of Orforglipron, the world's first oral small molecule GLP-1 receptor agonist, in people with type 2 diabetes. At the highest dose of 36 mg, Orforglipron reduced A1C, a key marker of long-term blood sugar, by 1.5%, and led to an average weight loss of 7.3 kilograms, or 7.9% of body weight. A clear dose response was observed, with greater effects at higher doses. And importantly, Orforglipron is taken once daily without any food or water restrictions, offering real convenience as an oral treatment option. This result clearly exceeded market expectations. Analysts were anticipating around 5 to 6% weight loss in type 2 diabetes patients, but Orforglipron delivered 7.9% at the highest dose. Now, that number might not sound huge at first glance. But keep in mind, this trial enrolled people with type 2 diabetes, where weight loss tends to be more modest. So in that context, 7.9% is actually a very strong result, especially for an oral drug. Now that we've seen what Orforglipron can do, let's compare it to the other major players in the GLP-1 space. Lilly's Orforglipron is a small molecule oral drug, no injections, no peptide structure. In contrast, Novo Nordisk's semaglutide forms the backbone of two well-known treatments, Ozempic, a weekly injectable, and Rybelsus, an oral version, though it's still a peptide and requires special dosing conditions. So structurally, these drugs are quite different. But what about their actual performance? Let's take a look. Let's compare three major GLP-1 treatments in patients with type 2 diabetes. While the trial duration for Orforglipron was slightly longer at 40 weeks, it clearly demonstrated a superior weight loss of 7.9%. In terms of A1C reduction, Orforglipron lowered levels by 1.5%, which is roughly in line with what we see from Ozempic and Rybelsus. So what really stands out here is that a small molecule oral drug has delivered results that are comparable, or even superior, to injectable and peptide-based GLP-1 therapies. Let's now take a closer look at the adverse events reported in the ACHIEVE-1 trial. The most common side effect was diarrhea, occurring in 19% of patients on 3 mg, 21% on 12 mg, and 26% on 36 mg, compared to 9% with placebo. Vomiting was seen in 5%, 7%, and 14% across the doses, while nausea occurred in 13%, 18%, and 16%, respectively. There's a clear trend of dose-dependent increase in some side effects, especially with diarrhea and vomiting. We'll compare these numbers with other GLP-1 therapies in the next slide. Here's a quick look at the GI side effects for Orforglipron compared to Ozempic and Rybelsus. At the highest dose, Orforglipron shows similar rates of diarrhea, vomiting, and nausea, and in some cases, even lower than semaglutide-based drugs. For example, nausea was reported in 16% of patients with Orforglipron, compared to 22% with Ozempic. And if we look at the lower 12 mg dose of Orforglipron, side effect rates were even lower, vomiting dropped to just 7%. Overall, Orforglipron's safety profile appears well within the expected range for GLP-1 therapies. As we've seen, Orforglipron has delivered compelling clinical results, strong efficacy and a manageable safety profile. There's little doubt it's heading toward approval. And with that, Eli Lilly now commands two distinct but complementary weapons in the obesity space, Zepbound, an injectable GLP-1 plus GIP dual agonist that's already approved and on the market, with projected peak sales of $29 billion. And Orforglipron, a once-daily oral GLP-1 agonist, expected to add another $19 billion. Together, they represent Lilly's twin engines of obesity dominance, one injectable, one oral, each targeting a different segment of this massive market. And the market reaction says it all. After the release of Orforglipron's Phase 3 data, Eli Lilly's stock surged, adding billions to its market cap. Meanwhile, Novo Nordisk dropped sharply, reflecting investor concern about growing competition. It's a clear signal that Orforglipron is seen as a serious challenge to Novo's position in the oral GLP-1 market. Orforglipron is shaping up to be a potential game changer. It's the first oral small molecule GLP-1 with positive Phase 3 results, showing meaningful weight loss, manageable side effects, and real convenience. With Zepbound and Orforglipron, Lilly now has two strong drivers in the obesity market. But the competition is heating up. On this channel, I explore the science, clinical data, and strategic positioning behind biotech and pharma companies, not to give financial advice, but to help you better understand the field and make your own informed decisions. In the next video, we'll take a closer look at Structure Therapeutics, a company developing an oral GLP-1 drug designed to challenge Orforglipron. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, stay curious, stay critical, and see you in the next one.